Hey everyone, welcome back.
We're back.
We are back with another episode of More Than Before.
Marriage!
Wow, you got it. I think this might actually work out, everyone. Super excited. Not the marriage, the podcast. We've already talked about that. That's kind of a no-brainer. You don't get to escape that, right?
I don't get to run away.
No,
you don't get to run away.
No, there's a ball and chain, and if you try to get away, there's a nice deep grave there.
Contrap has been.
Contrap?
Contrap has been.
You must have got that from my mother.
Yeah, because I remember you guys calling that when we got married.
No, you signed the marriage contract. You can't get out. Well, I'm excited because today we are talking about a topic that is really dear to our hearts because right now there's a lot of stuff going on. What's been going on since the last time that we had the podcast?
Just being not so sure about a bunch of things going on, being uncertain.
Yeah, we got our dog back. We went through the whole Thanksgiving thing, which we talked about last week. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden, I started getting orders for laser stuff, which is kind of cool. So for all of you that are reaching out to ask for laser orders, thank you. Even though it's none of you who are actually watching or listening to this. But, hey, a guy can dream, right? You're feeding my family. Buy more products. No. Come on, be consumers, everyone. No. So lots of fun stuff happening. Willow is still pregnant, if you can see. I'm
still pregnant.
She's still pregnant. About to be not pregnant here within the next couple weeks.
I'm eyeballing because I used to be saying a couple weeks, but now, as of today, I'm like, no, it's like the next week. We're not even pushing it a couple weeks. We're like,
she's like, it's going to be tomorrow.
Come on.
Yeah. It was funny because over this last weekend, she was like, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. I think it was like Saturday or Sunday. It was Saturday evening where you're like, I think this is going to be it. And it never progressed to anything. Super disappointing for you, wasn't it?
Yep.
Yeah. But today we have a really great topic. We are talking about certainly uncertain. What does it mean to be certain in the uncertainty of your life? Because right now we're getting ready for some uncertain things. I don't know if you guys have ever experienced that before. Sometimes whether you're getting married and you're uncertain whether or not you guys are going to get along.
Hopefully that's not the case.
Hopefully that's not the case. Let's fast forward maybe a couple more years later, and maybe it's you're having kids and you're uncertain. What is life going to be like when you add that one small little creature in your life? And then you add another creature and another creature. And, we're at the point where we're adding our fourth creature. Actually, technically our sixth creature. We lost one. That was our first dog.
Yeah. I'm like,
okay,
give me a heart attack. Like,
what's going on here? Something I didn't know. No. But there is an uncertainty with different aspects of your marriage. And so we kind of want to talk about what does it look like to be certain in uncertainty? Because I think right now there's a lot of people that we know that have uncertainty going on. Like a friend of mine, she just had heart surgery. She had a hole in her heart and she had that hole fixed on the 9th of December. And so that was kind of a crazy ordeal. Just her going through that. She's had a lot of stuff that has happened in her life. But then the day afterwards, she's doing well. Then she's not. She's doing well. She's not. Mm-hmm. High temperature, like just all over the place. And so when it comes to the uncertainties, what do we do?
Yeah.
And right now, what's the biggest uncertainty right now that's on your mind?
Well, just the baby, what's going to happen with the birth of the baby?
Yeah.
How are things going to go? How is it going to affect our family? Even into like financial uncertainty of like, how long is maternity leave going to last? And just like all things surrounding family and baby, of the birth of the baby. What's going to happen? Am I going to die?
Which, by the way, this might be the last podcast episode with Willow. By the way, we might be looking for a new podcast guest. I said that before we got on. You were like,
I haven't even died yet. And you're already.
No, there's no list. There's no list. It reminds me of that. I don't remember who it was, but there was someone on some talk show, and some gal got up and was asking like one of the celebrities, like, "Oh, you're on my list," and they were talking about the list, and the host was like, "What's this list that you guys are talking about?" I don't know. It doesn't matter. I went off on a tangent, but anyway, we're back to certain things. So, what is the first thing that we got to remember as a couple when it comes to things that are uncertain? How do we focus on certainty?
I think the first thing is to trust in God. Things are uncertain. We're not sure. It's just knowing that God's in control and just trusting in him and knowing that, okay, I don't really know what's going on, but I know that you do, and God works his plans.
Yeah. Well, I think a lot of people they say that kind of flippantly. They're like, oh, just trust God. Like, it'll all be okay. But I mean, what does it look like for you to actually trust God? Because this is something that you've gone through, a couple kids of just trusting God through the birthing process. And then even like what we were talking about later was like, how do we make sure that our kids feel loved when we add another child in and it feels like, there's less time and less focus for each one. What does that actually look like to trust God, like in this situation?
Yeah. When I think about that, I think about like, okay, trusting God means like for me to not worry about all the things that could go wrong and bad. Just trusting, like stop worrying about all the negatives and the bad and the worst possible option, but just to not be anxious about those things. And in order to do that, it just think on what our pastor calls the teener plaps, the thinking on that what is true, what is right, noble, pure,
loving, admirable,
praiseworthy.
Yeah. All those things. And that really does help with your mental clarity to focus on what is important, especially when you can do each of those things.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly. Because some things are out of control, and it's like, okay, to keep keep my mind off of going down a spiral of the worst than thinking on what's good.
Yeah. Well, I think sometimes it's easier for people that aren't planners to just trust in God. Like for me, it's not a big thing for me to just trust in God and be like, okay, like it's all going to be okay. Like it's all going to work out. Like the birth is going to be great. There's going to be no complications. Like everything will be great. And then you have the planner.
Me.
That would be Willow.
Yeah. It's very hard to.
Willow needs a plan. Right. Not only does she need a plan, she needs a plan for the plan and a backup plan for the backup plan and a plan just in case the backup plan doesn't work, right?
Right, because then when the plan goes off, then I'm just like, okay, all thrown off.
Well, and that really goes to the second point. So trusting God is kind of a big thing, and I know that seems like an automatic thing, but are you and your spouse like on the same page? Do you actually trust that God has the situation? Like even like what you're talking about maternity leave and all that stuff, like financially, looking at the bank account, like we put money aside for, putting down for a house. Now we're going like, okay, that's going to dwindle really fast if we're going to take enough maternity leave to make sure one, you can heal, but two, like you're mentally able to go back to work and not have a serious mental breakdown.
Right. Exactly.
I mean, yeah, no. I was like, maybe we might be able to get more time off if you have a mental breakdown.
Hopefully that's not going to be the case.
I don't think we want to have that. Like, we don't need Willow in a mental breakdown. Where's Willow? She's in a padded cell somewhere.
Oh, dear.
I don't think they have those. Do they have padded cells anymore?
I don't know.
I feel like you would know that. You're in the medical community.
I don't know.
Not that medical community, I guess.
I guess not that side.
You just distribute to that medical community. Okay, so trusting God, that's the number one thing. The second thing, which is something I really like, and you brought this up, was to plan for the worst but expect the best. Yeah. And I think that's a really powerful thing. When you said that to me earlier, what does that mean, to plan for the worst but expect the best?
I mean, the first part is to be planning, like have your plan and know the options, do the work, like don't be lazy and just not do anything. Like have things set up, but then also don't dwindle on the worst, like the negative things that can happen.
Yeah.
Have those things set up, but then also expect the best. And that's kind of going back to the first point too, of trusting and having things positive.
Well, and I love that because it kind of marries both ideas of both people in the marriage. There's normally a planner and there's normally a shoot from the hip kind of person. I'm the shoot from the hip kind of person, if you didn't understand that or get that from any of our conversations in the past. And Willow is definitely the planner. And so when it comes to the plan, like it's really good to have a plan. There's nothing wrong with the plan. But if the plan is so concrete that you can't have any flexibility, if anything in the plan goes off, the whole entire plan goes haywire. And, if you're married to that plan, your entire world is going to explode. And I don't know if you guys know this, but when it comes to giving birth, or pretty much anything in life, nothing, you can expect pretty much nothing. Which is kind of the whole point of like what we're talking about of, the uncertainty of certainty, because the only thing is certain is that we know that things are going to be uncertain.
Yeah.
But we do know that we can be certain about God and trusting in God, and we can be certain to know that we can have a plan, but then not be married to the plan so much that if we lose parts of it, we're not going to have a meltdown, right?
Exactly. That there's other options. And when and if those happen, then we know we can go a different route.
Yeah. And I think I love what you say about that too, of like being able to look at all possible routes that could happen. Like, and we've talked about everything. Like, we don't go into, when we travel, we have, what is the active will, living will
yeah.
for our kids. Who's going to take care of our kids if we die on a plane ride, which Willow hates. Will hates every single time that we fly.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's important to have those T's crossed, those I's dotted. Mm-hmm. We have life insurance, both of us. If you don't have those things, go and talk to a person that that's in that industry. Or if you need someone, like, come and talk to us. Like, we know people that can definitely take care of you. But are you actually making sure that you're prepared for the worst, but then going in understanding that God has the best in store for you, the best plans for you, and just trusting those plans.
Right.
And I think that's really important, right?
Even like we can't think of all the things that are going to happen, obviously. It's just,
Willow can.
Yeah.
Because Willow stays up all night worrying about all the different things.
All the different things. Yeah, exactly.
Well, what if this happens?
What if I really am going to die? So, yeah. But no,
how long do I have after you die? Because I don't know how I can last with these 4 kids that you're going to leave me. No, no. Well, but even in the uncertainty of like having family, mm-hmm. like it's having a plan. Like you plan certain things out of having multiple kids, but then when you have them, like the plan kind of goes out the window in some cases. But then in other cases, your kids start to surprise you and you're like, oh, wow, like this might actually work. Like even today, our daughter woke up and she was like, Daddy, I'm going to be a big helper today. And I was like, okay, you're going to be a big helper. And she was a big helper. I had her fill up the cups for everyone at the table. She got the silverware out. I had her, I cracked the eggs, and then I had her stirring the eggs with very small things. And then she got her butterfly stool and she stood next to me while I was cooking at the stove. And she was like, oh, Dad, did we put salt in? I'll put the salt in. Give me the salt. And I'm like, you're not putting salt in over a gas stove. Like, no, not happening. But what's really cool is, that wasn't a plan to have that happen, but it actually just came into the fold of like, oh, okay, this is an opportunity now. This is something that we can add in that wasn't part of the original plan. And it makes it better. It makes it more rich, right?
Exactly.
So number 3, what's number 3?
Don't disconnect.
Oh, man. I don't know who needs to hear this listening right now, but when things get trying, don't shut down and bunker in your house.
It sounds so easy to just be like, oh, I'm just not going to go because I'm this or that. Like, let's just hold off today and let's just hold off this week. And then
I wish you could have listened to this podcast this last Monday when you didn't want to go to Bible study.
That's exactly what I was thinking. I was like, I'm so glad I went to Bible study because I was like, I just don't know. What if the baby comes?
I don't want my water break.
I want my water to break at the Bible study.
Yeah, and then I threw you a real curveball, and I was like, "Hey, drive your mom's brand new car."
I know. I have the car ready for you. You're going.
I was like, "The car's running. I put the automatic start on. It's just running out there waiting for you." But I think so many times when things are uncertain, and we are kind of in those trying times, sometimes we just hunker down and we bunker in our houses. and we don't meet with other people. We don't go out. We just stop. We stop living.
Yeah.
And it's so important for us to connect.
I think it's like we're not wanting to share like those things that are kind of
intimate and like the things that aren't going
well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or and what I have found, and I think what both of us has found, is that in those times where we feel like we need to be recluses, if we actually go out of our way and meet with people or create connection with people, we feel filled up.
Yeah.
Like even though I was exhausted this week, I had a couple guys over on Monday morning at 5:30 to have Bible study at our house.
Yeah.
That just started 2 weeks ago. And that's been such a powerful, uplifting thing for me, even though things are chaotic and I don't have time to sleep. And I've got lasering projects here, and we've got the kids that, we're trying to do homeschool with, and fill in the blank. It could be really easy for me or for you to say, no, like that's just too much.
Yeah.
But it's something that we've been very diligent about, of being intentional to say, okay, this is something that we need to have right now. And so let's open that up. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fourth point, the last thing that we wanted to bring up here, which is really simple, and it seems kind of cliche, but it's enjoying the moment.
Yeah. Which can sound hard too. Like, okay, things are uncertain and maybe hard. How can you enjoy that? But it's just living life and being okay with how things are going.
Yeah. Well, and I was thinking about this point of like enjoying the moment, and I remember back to when Rylan was being born, our firstborn. And I don't know if you remember this moment because you were kind of in agony at the moment. But it was like the very last push. It was right before the last push. And you wanted to push, and the doctor was like, no, don't push. And you're like, I've got to push. And they're like, no,
I
don't
do remember
push.
that like vividly.
And so I was holding your hand, and we were head to head, and I said, let's pray. Do you remember that? And I prayed over you. I prayed over our daughter. I prayed over the time. And I looked at you and said, just be present and remember this moment. I don't know what came over me. The Holy Spirit just was like, okay, Nathan, you need to say this to your wife, of just be in the moment. Like, be here. Don't be trying to force it to get out of it and to move quickly through it, but just be here, present in this moment. And right now, with whatever's going on in your life, can I just say, if things are uncertain, and you're looking at the future and you're going, I just don't know what's going to happen. And you're trying to close off, and maybe you have a distrust of God, or maybe your plans are falling through and nothing seems to be going right. Can I just say, look around you and do what Willow was talking about earlier with the Teenerplaps. Find what is true in your life. Find what is noble, what is pure, what is right, what is loving, admirable, praiseworthy. Praiseworthy is huge. Of like, who could you praise right now in the moment for what is going right in your world? There's got to be something right in your life right now.
Yeah.
And so the certainty piece, it becomes more certain when we actually have that playfulness and joy, I think, in our life, because you and I were very serious, and we get too serious all the time. And we can suck the joy and living daylights out of each other if we're not careful.
Yeah.
But on the other side, when we do have that joy, when we are encouraging to one another, when we laugh, when we make opportunities to laugh, man, life is so much better, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure. And I think what comes to mind for me in this moment is because I'm pregnant, obviously. But it's like when I'm just like, oh, I'm miserable. But then you remind me, like, enjoy this moment. This is the last one. Like, I mean, it's like
you're like, yeah, it is the last one.
But at the same time, like, okay, I do have to just enjoy it. Think about like the joy, the good pieces of being pregnant, and like what I could share with you or talk to the kids about, or, so thinking on those things versus, oh, this is miserable. I'm so uncomfortable. And
I can't lay in any position.
I don't know what
hurts.
What am I doing? Because I'm messing something up by doing this. And so just kind of that's encouraging to hear too, of like, okay, just enjoy this.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because when I say that to you right now, I like, even when I'm thinking about it right now, I envision her moving around like, and like pushing on your stomach. Like, you're never going to experience that again. That's like once in a, well, technically it's a 4 time in a lifetime thing for you. But there's just something really crazy about that. And although there will be things that happen over the course of the next few weeks, or whenever she decides to show herself, there's something about just being present and enjoying the time. In fact, that's something that's been really huge for our family, even as we were talking about going from like the first child to the second child to the third child to the fourth child, which I think maybe that will be a podcast episode down the road of like what has been the shift and the change from having one child with our marriage to 2 children to 3 children to 4 children. Because we've moved to this point right now where we have so much going on that sometimes and most times we don't feel like we can get anything done. And you have this feeling all the time. I've been getting this feeling more and more. And there's this constant reminder of just enjoy the moment. Be present with your kids. Well, I can't get anything done. I can't get the dishes done. And they're fighting and they're doing this and da 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 da. And I just look at you and I'm like, just be present with them.
Yeah. And it's so hard, but it's so true. It is just about being present and making the most of the moment.
Yeah. I really love this topic of the uncertainty, being certain in the uncertainty, and the things that we can be certain of, kind of going back to what our points were. First, trusting God. Second, plan for the worst, expect the best. Third,
don't disconnect.
And fourth,
enjoy the moment.
You know, really huge things that we want to encourage you with your spouse. If you're going through a season right now, we just want to encourage you. You're not alone. We all have something going on. It's funny because it reminds me of the thing. I think we talked about this a couple of weeks ago, but the whole your house should be ready, company ready within 10 minutes. And we let that go a long time ago because we realized that we want a house that's lived in. We want a house that people can come to and realize that they're not alone. So if you're out there and you feel like, man, we're struggling right now in our marriage, we have some uncertainty. Maybe you even feel like you have uncertainty with one another. Can we just encourage you to lean into each other? Even reach out to us. As marriage coaches, that's one of the things we love to do is walk with couples to help them re-engage, help them have a beautiful vision for their life, for what God has put you guys together for. Yeah. So, really good stuff. Anything else you want to say before we kind of wrap up?
Nope, I think that's it. There's always uncertainty, right? We never know what's going on. So it's just encouraging to have these things come to mind to be reminded of.
Yeah.
We're certain that we're always going to be uncertain about something. So it's just.
It's uncertainty in the it's certainty in the uncertainty.
Yeah.
Well, we do want to thank you so much for joining us. I know that, every single week we try to encourage you, try to bring the best that we can. So until next time, remember to be more,
see more,
and experience more
together.